Welcome back to They Did What? Your source for the internet's craziest, most entertaining stories, where I go over them, analyze them, and most certainly make fun of them. Today, going to do a story titled, I found text on my wife's phone with an ex-lover that she didn't tell me was an ex. And big shout out to Chris for sending me this story. And guys, this story is all about a guy. He's 32 years old. His wife is 39. And he is, in no other way to put this, a clueless bonehead. A bonehead who, in less than 2 years after meeting his girl, or shall I say woman, older woman, married her. And during a long-distance relationship, and guess what? She's a single MOM with 3 teenage kids. And that'll be a brilliant idea to marry her, be the hero, the white knight, all that type of thing. And you're going to see, it isn't long before he starts seeing her true colors. One day when he discovers something on her phone about a so-called friend of hers. And you're going to see there's way more going on behind the scenes, proving what I talk about all the time. How so many women out there will deliberately get involved with and marry a guy that in no way, shape, or form are they in love with, or even really like, purely for his resources, to take care of them, to take care of their kid or kids. And if you're not careful, guys, that could happen to you if you're a relationship type of guy. I'm not saying that all single MOMs are like this, but sadly, a hell of a lot live up to the negative stereotypes. So you have to be very careful, okay? And you're going to see here, right then and there. And as I said before, these types that choose these naive young guys that don't know any better, they almost always never get nearly the amount of loving in the bedroom than the guys that these women really like. And these guys are just heartbroken when they find out that in the past they would do all these things enthusiastically with the other guys, but they get the bare minimum, amongst many other things. So very important lessons in this story. And this guy, you'll see at the end of the story, is at a crossroads of what to do. And I certainly give him a piece of my mind. I feel bad for him, but he got needs some serious tough love, as a lot of these young guys that have no role model are. And again, this is why I do what I do every freaking day, to share these stories and share my opinion on this. Some middle-aged, old-school tough love these young guys don't seem to have nowadays. So buckle up, this is a good one. So it starts off saying, I have some background here. I met my wife in late 2019. We hit off quickly, but due to my job, I had to live apart, and our relationship started as a long-distance one. Smack! Long distances don't work, dude. And typically the relationships start where maybe you were together for a while, then something happened, you had to do long distance for a little bit. Not starting long distance. That's crazy. She has 3 children that are in their teens. Smack! Single MOM with 3 teenage kids. Really? You can't do better? I traveled as much as I could throughout the pandemic and got along great. And I got along with the kids as well. She'd visit me when she could, and we would talk on the phone for hours every day. Well, that's a mistake. You really have that much time in your day to talk to her on the phone. You know, anything else going on in your life, friends, hobbies, stuff like that, that communicates to her how much you're into the relationship and her giving her the power. And you're going to see. I decided that I wanted to marry this woman and propose to her in the summer of 2021. Smack! You've barely known her 2 years, and you're going to propose to her, and it sounds like a big chunk of the relationship was long distance. Are you out of your mind? And she has 3 kids, and I might add, like I said, she's 39, he's 32. She's older, and with kids and all that. Bro, you come on here. With the plan to marry her at the start of 2022, when I could finally move back and move in with her. So even long distance this whole time, are you nuts? Lord knows what she's doing when you're not around. She accepted, and we had a great wedding. She would talk about some of her exes, but there weren't many from what she said, and I trusted her 100%. Smack! No man should ever say that. I had no doubt about what she told me or what she would do. This brings me to the person that I will call Jay. Jay was a friend that she had just met, that she had met at a concert, and they would go to concerts together as friends. Friends, huh? Sometimes with the kids and sometimes not. This was all before I met her, and she said nothing had happened between them other than a kiss once at a concert, and that was it. Oh yeah, the guy just was feeling it in the moment with the music and gave her a kiss, and that was it. Bullshit. He obviously wanted her, or there's something else going on, and she's lying. I didn't think much of it because it was all before we met. Anyways, and since he had kissed her in the heat of the concert, I thought nothing of it. Dude, are you blind? Were you born yesterday? I don't mean to be nasty, but God almighty. I had met him once or twice early on when I moved back. He's not a particularly good-looking guy, but he was very fit, six-pack and all. I said hi, and that was about it. Haven't heard much about him since and haven't seen him. Interesting. Not so good looking, you think? But he's very fit, six-pack and all. Recently, I was taking care of my wife with some medical things and had access to her phone. I didn't think I'd find anything in it, but it was curious. Well, if you obviously are curious at looking at her phone, something obviously doesn't add up whether you want to admit it or not. We both said that we got nothing to hide and can look at each other's phones, but I actually haven't done it. This time I did, and I feel like I've been blindsided. I scrolled through her text with Jay and everything looked normal until I found a text with a picture that was suggestive. This surprised me because I never knew that they were that way. More concerning was the date. It was after I proposed to her and before we were married. So you're together and she's regularly texting with this guy, and you should have been a man and said, if we're going to be together and certainly get married, there's no guy friends you're hanging out with, talking to, and all that. And if you don't like that, that's okay, but we're not going to be together. But this guy obviously is not that type of guy. It starts with her reaching out to Jay saying, "Remember this sweater?" with a picture in a sweater. Nothing sexual yet. He replies, "Yes, I remember that back too." She responds to the picture of the back I took. He says yes, and they send each other the kissy face emoji. She then sends a picture of her showing her butt in the mirror wearing the same sweater. Then he says, "This one, I found it, kissy face emoji." You still think that they're just friends? You still think that they just kissed at the concert, talking all the time? These are recent texts, I might add. Her sending him pictures of her naked ass there in the mirror and all that. Goodbye. We're done. It's over. What she sent him next deeply hurt me. She then said it doesn't count because it was taken for you before the OP, before her husband. He replies, "That's the one, so much ass hearts in the eyes emoji." They continue to chat about other things from there. At this point, my heart is racing and it feels like my world is falling apart. I continue to look at her texts. She sent screenshots of a text between them that they had before I met her that talks about touching each other and giving sexual acts. What a surprise! Imagine that. She wasn't honest with you. What possible motive could she have to get together with you? I don't know. She's a single MOM. She's older than you. She's got 3 teenagers she'd like to have somebody take care of, and would make up all this shit to rope you in. But we're just getting started. I found out that the relationship was far beyond a kiss, and it was very sexual before I met her. That wouldn't be a problem, but she shared this screenshot to him almost a year after we were together. She says, haha, those were the days, talking about the screenshot. He replies, "The longest BJ I've ever gotten, for sure." And she replies, "Still my specialty." Oh, I'm sure that was nice for this guy to read. This also hurt me because she rarely does it for me, and when she does, she seems to struggle. What I tell you guys about how the guys that they settle for get barely anything. The bare minimum. And even then, they're not very enthusiastic. But with the guys they really like, the bad boys, the guys that give them the butterflies, the chatter Tyrone, if you will, oh, the sky's the limit. They enthusiastically do all those things. Or at least they pretend to. But regardless, the chatter Tyrone gets everything. The guy they settle for, right here, the beta male provider, if you will, that's the term is used often, he gets bare minimum or nothing. I feel like she doesn't have a good time doing it, so I usually stop her. I go down on her every time, but she doesn't do the same for me, and I don't push it because I don't think that she was into it. Smack! I should have smacked him a few times before. Of course you're the type that goes down south every time for her, even though she doesn't always do it for you. Of course you're that type. You're a pleaser. You want to please her and make her happy. She knows this. All your actions have demonstrated that you're a pleaser. And I might add, you're with a gal 7 years older than you, with kids and all that. Shows that you don't have a whole lot of options. And in her mind, hey, he'll take the bare minimum. I know this sounds horrible to some of you. Maybe people aren't used to me. They found me just today or something. But this is reality. It's not that hard to figure people out. And when you hear enough of these stories and you live long enough and see and be a part of human beings and understand human nature, it's quite obvious. She's using you. You're a joke to her. And I feel bad for this guy. I know it sounds like I'm being harsh. I feel bad for this guy because he doesn't deserve it, but he's clueless. That's why I do these videos. I also found a text about them talking about the said BJ about 3 months after starting our relationship. I then find a text that she had early this year with her best friend. A note on the timeline. We've been married for over a year at this point. This was May of this year, and my work has dried up. I had to work out of town and was staying at a super cheap motel with bugs in it to help pay our bills. I'm the only one that works, and we have a hefty amount of debt. So not only is she cheating on him, and she's older than him, and has 3 kids, and all that, she doesn't work. He has agreed to the terms that he's going to be the sole provider for her and her 3 kids. Smack, smack, smack. What the hell is the matter with you? Let me guess. I'm going to be the strong provider for my woman and her children. These aren't even your kids. Is she getting child support from her ex or exes, baby daddy or baby daddies? I haven't heard anything about that yet. He's struggling, staying in roach motels to save money, and he says they have hefty debts. Where do those hefty debts come from? I'm willing to bet you she brought them into the marriage. I'm the only one that works, and we have a hefty amount of debt. We had a vacation that her parents had paid for this month after this. She tells her friend that she's chatting with Jay and that she doesn't miss the S-word part of it, but she misses how he made her feel in the friendship. Her friend replied, why are you talking to him? She said that Jay was her friend, but he made a comment that took her right back to how strong their chemistry was, and it took her off guard. Her friend replies only with a grimace face emoji. My wife then replies that it's cool, and she maintains her boundaries, and he knows that, but that he was kind of her kryptonite. Yeah, the bad boy she has the weakness for. I don't care if she isn't doing anything presently. She was lying to this guy all along and having things going on, communicating with him, sharing nudes, all that, while they were together. I'm sure they were hooking up anyway. End it. The sad thing is, they've been married now over a year, so I don't know if the annulment thing will work. But certainly there's no going forward with her after this. Her friend replies with a grimace face emoji again. This made me really mad, at this time working my ass off 12 hours a day, 6 days a week, and going alone to a pest-ridden room to pay for her to stay home with the kids, while she thinks about another man. I then realize that if he's her kryptonite, then I must not be. I feel like a fool and a sucker. Bro, you have been a fool and a sucker. You have been a giant fool and a sucker. But it doesn't mean you need to be a fool and a sucker going forward. If you have all this information and you connect the dots the way I have, and he probably hasn't because he's not going to do that, then you'll see there's only one option here: divorce. Just look at this as a big boneheaded mistake of your youth, and get out of this situation. This is terrible. She's a liar. She's a cheater. She's a user. And believe me, she's going to continue to be this way. And I'm willing to bet you, second those kids are old enough and you're done paying for them, she'll divorce you. And you'll be paying a nice divorce alimony to her afterwards. She's using you, no other reason. And she knew exactly who you were when she found you, because these predators, they can find weak guys and see that they're going to be these provider types, will be happy to get any loving they can get. And there you go. This is why I say, you want a family, guys? Fine. Just find a single gal that doesn't have any kids. A lot of people will be outraged by that. But there are so many single MOMs out there that are awful, that use guys, don't give a shit about them. It's purely to use them for their resources, for them and their kids. And why in God's green earth is she not working? Did she not have a job before she got together with you? Or you got married and then you said, I'll take care of my little missus here? You're nuts. It shouldn't be all on you. Anyway, it says here, nothing I've seen makes me think she's physically done anything, at least recently. Smack. This naive shit is really hurting you, man. I'm still unsure early in the relationship. I do love her and don't want to divorce her. Smack, 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 smack. God sakes. How much shit do you got to go through to wake up? Love her? You don't love her. You love who you think she is. And that ain't it. He sure as hell doesn't love you. And what do you mean you don't want a divorce? I get you don't want to be divorced and go through that process, but not divorced to her. She's going to use you the rest of your marriage. And it ain't going to last long once those kids are all of legal age. And she can get an alimony out of it. But she's broken my trust and hurt me deeply. I can't bring this up with her yet as she's still recovering from her medical stuff. Well, how interesting, they got married and now she's having all these medical procedures done, no doubt off his insurance. There's an idea, Einstein. I'm not sure how to proceed at this point. Even if I feel like there hasn't been any physical cheating, it feels like she's had an emotional affair and it hurts. Other than those few texts that I mentioned above, I haven't found anything else that concerns me. I'm just very confused and hurt and want to see what everyone else here has to say. Well, I'm happy to say that overwhelmingly the comments, guys have been telling him to end it with her or tearing him a new one. And this guy needs some tough fucking love. This is why I do what I do, and it's sad that so many young guys are this clueless because they don't have anybody to teach them. She's using you. End of story. Women will find the nice guy provider to get serious with because the guys they really want aren't going to provide. Yet you pay all the bills. She doesn't have to work. What a great deal for her. You're taking care of her 3 teenage children. I'm guessing there's at least one boy. And you know, teenage boys, they eat like horses. You eat you out of house and home. I was a teenage boy once, and I ate my parents almost out of house and home. And she's getting, she doesn't have a job, so obviously she's getting from his insurance her medical procedures. He's getting the bare minimum in the bedroom, even though obviously she had shown through her text that she was more than happy to give the BJs enthusiastically to the other guy. What else is there to convince you, man? I mean, you were a fool and naive and all that, but it doesn't mean you have to be going forward. But if you stay with her, you got no one to blame but yourself. You need to end it with her. Go talk to an attorney, find out all your options, good, bad, or ugly. Hopefully this marriage, because it is over a little over a year, you won't be hit too hard in the alimony department in terms of splitting assets, and hopefully it won't be too bad. But you no doubt will take a hit. I'm convinced of this, but hopefully it'll be a minor hit, or maybe only a few years of alimony, because she doesn't work. What a great deal for her. And take the hit and move on and wake the hell up, man. And start watching this type of material often and educating yourself. I'm sorry this happened. I really am. But you need some tough love. That's what he should do. Now let me read some comments here real quick. One guy says here, she's using you to support her and the 3 kids. She'd be with Jay right now instead of you, but he's smart enough not to support this cheater. You can continue to work your butt off to support someone who definitely doesn't respect or love you, or you can grow a set and dump her. She's a liar and a cheater. Sorry, but that is the truth. A freaking man. The other guy says here, first thing you want to do is make sure you copy all the information and keep it safe. But everybody you said is true. Everything you say is true. It's not the guy. He's not the guy. He wrote this bad. She's using you there to provide for her and the kids. I would talk to an attorney and see what the layout would be. Let's face it, you're not going to trust her again after this, and when they sit there and make you feel so small and emasculate you and disrespect you, it's hard to come back from that. Another guy says here, you missed the red flags. She doesn't respect you, and you are nothing more than a provider for her and her kids. What more proof do you need than her withholding the information about her friend and willing to give him BJs and not you? All right. Cut your losses and take this as an expensive lesson learned. Right, cut your losses. It's like you make a bad investment and the stock you buy in a company doesn't work out well, and you realize it's not going to turn it around. At that point, yeah. Sell at a loss, take the tax loss, reinvest the money in something solid, and you learn your lesson. You cut your losses. Same thing here with this marriage. Another guy says, look, man, personally, I'd leave. You're working your butt off, and she's doing this. Trust is broken, and she knew what she was doing. You're the second choice, and you're still young, and you deserve better focus on yourself. Hit the gym and move on. She had an emotional affair. You're the second choice. If I was you, I would leave. I don't believe for a second that there isn't any physical activity going on here. And here's the best comment. This is long. This guy says, be a man. Do not accept this in a relationship. Do not be used like this. In the end, she's going to lose what little respect she has for you and come to despise you. She knows she's not into you, but you think she loves you fully. She can't help but think you are a fool, and she can use you because you are a fool. No respect possible. Women do not respect weakness. Women will never love a guy they don't respect. You're 32 and you have your huge life ahead of you. You aren't even close to your peak. You should be dating a girl who's like 25 and totally into you. The only good thing is that her female friend, while accepting a relationship, seems to be disapproving of your wife's position. Be ready to defend your choices. She will strike hard at friends and family. You're going to have to explain that you discovered that and she really is into another guy and she's keeping as a friend but could not get to him to commit in the hopes that he will later. That she really is not into you at all. She just wants your income and stability. That you will not be in a relationship like that. Get out and get in front of the narrative. Yes, he needs to have that proof and he needs to tell people, because otherwise she'll control the narrative, and you know how that usually ends. What you do first, though, is to say nothing to her. Nothing. You talk to a divorce attorney and do whatever he says. You prepare to exit, where you live and all that. You look at debt and liability. You look at living expenses. Please tell me you did not adopt the kids. Anyhow, just figure out expenses and do what the lawyer tells you to do. Yeah, please tell me he didn't adopt those kids. She will argue, cry a lot, and I promise, don't fall for it. When the kids are all grown up, she will leave you, and then you'll be paying her cash every month for even longer. And you will have no kids of your own, while now likely being too old to get out there and make this happen. The woman is stealing your future. Do not let her. Wonderful. The whole comment section is full of that, which is rare for Reddit. So, use this guy's story here as a lesson here. Do not be like this guy. So many gals look for, they're predators. They look for good guys. They're clueless, don't have a lot of options, and they use them for everything it's worth. And these guys watch too many freaking movies, think they're going to be the hero, the white knight savior to save the girl. They have the hero complex, and they get used for everything it's worth. I've heard this over and over again. Don't be that guy. Alright guys, that is it for today. Be sure to comment down below. Let me know what you think about this. And if you find a good story, guys, definitely email to me, strongsuccessfulmale@gmail.com. And be sure to like the video, share it with your friends, and subscribe. I'll catch you next time.